Here I am talking, and I forgot to hit the second go live button. Afternoon Fury. Yes, I'm glad you're lurking out there, my friend. Um, I do have a question for you. All right. I was watching another content creator this morning, and she was saying something about having a doctor's appointment. And she goes out there, shows up at her doctor's office, signs in. And while she's sitting there, her appointment time comes and goes. About 20 minutes goes by. She stops up to the receptionist to see what's going on. And the receptionist tells her, "Oh, your appointment was for that machine sitting out there in the waiting room." What the hell is that? A machine in the waiting room? And you have to make an appointment to see a machine in the doctor's office waiting room? Excuse me, the surgeon's office waiting room. What in the hell is that? I just heard about that this morning, so obviously I haven't had any time to look up and do anything, look up at on that, but I was absolutely amazed at that. Yeah, Bubba. I hope you had a better last night working uh, 4th of July night than I did. My God, I had some real idiots. Hey, Sean, how's it going? Nah, Sean, from what she said, she sat there waiting, 20 minutes past her appointment time, waiting to get called back to see her doctor. And when she went up to the receptionist to find out what was going on, they said, "Yeah, right there, that machine in the that you've been sitting next to for the past 20 some odd minutes." I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." Yeah, but like I said, I hope you had a better last night than what I did, man. Crazy people. I tell you, I mean, yeah, they're crazy anyway. I mean, come in complaining about hotel rates. Well, yeah. I mean, you're coming in at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning on the 4th of July, wanting to get a room with no reservations. You're surprised I've got a couple of rooms still left. Uh, Sean, I got no clue what's going on with that. But yeah, that's why I'm asking Fury to explain what's going on with that because I would be hard pressed to say I'm wanting to make an appointment to see a machine. I would really be hard pressed for that. I mean, what the hey? That's about silly. But again, not knowing the British health system, that's why I'm asking Fury. Maybe he can explain it to us. And not necessarily today, just sometime explain it to him what it is. Then, but like I said, had the craziest people come in. Like I said, one complain about the rates, one complain about this and that. Uh, Complain about the what was it? The amount of noise, all the fireworks going off. How am I supposed to get a good night's sleep with all these fireworks? It's 4th of July. People are going to be up all night long setting off fireworks. You stupid if you don't think they aren't. Yeah, you're going. How long of a vacation are you planning on taking there, Bubba, before you actually start your next job? I know when I retired out of the Air Force, one of the things I really wanted to do was just to take a week, just a week, to sit back and do as little as possible, as little as the wife and kid would allow me to do for that week. Oh, you don't want to go outside, Spanky? Okay. Oh, I know. He wants me to sit back down on the couch with him. That's what he wants. Well, I'm sorry, puppy, but I can't do that. I got to sit over here at the computer. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a catch up stream because there's been a whole heck of a lot that has gone on this past week that I just have not had a chance to, you know, talk about because I've missed a few days of streaming for various reasons. I don't want to cover that. I don't want to talk about that quite yet. What is this? Uh, I don't want to talk about that either. I've changed my mind talking about that. What we got here? Yeah, all right. 247 years ago, we had the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the starting of the founding of our country. Our country hasn't always done everything right. We've done things wrong from here to there. And it's not because of the United States is an inherently evil country. It's not because we're trying to do, we're made up of evil white people. It's not because we're anything different from any other country. We're made, one thing all countries have in common is we're made up of people. And people make mistakes. And as time progresses, old habits, old ways of doing things change and things get better. For the most part, the days of kings and kingdoms, emperors, is over with for the most part. The day of having monarchy ruling with an iron fist, be it a Japanese monarchy, a Chinese monarchy, Indian and not American Indian, the days of having nomadic tribes ruling with iron fists, sheiks, and American Indian chieftains, the days of having people unaccountable, it's pretty much over. We've we as a people, we as a nation, recognize that some of the things, and I mean, even at our founding, we recognized some of the things that was going on in our country was wrong. It's just at the time there was no way to fix what was wrong. The only thing you could do is try. The only thing they could do at that time was try to reduce the amount of power that those who did the wrong had. That's the purpose of the Three-Fifths Compromise. The non-slaveholders didn't want to allow slaves to be counted so as to prevent the southern colonies from having too much power. Of course, the southern colonies, the slaveholders, wanted the slaves to be counted without having any power, but wanted the slaves to be counted so that they had more power. So the three-fifths compromise came up. It wasn't that the founders didn't look at the slaves as being less thans and not worthy. That wasn't the purpose. And anybody who takes a real look at the Constitution understands that. Takes a real look at American history and the founding understands that. Those who say otherwise, they're the race haters. They're the baiters. They're the liars, the thieves. They're the ones that piss me off. Much as well, this woman, let's listen to this woman here for a minute.
So here we go. America is nothing to celebrate. So repeat after me, as this rag that does not represent the people of the world goes up.
Okay, mistake number one. That flag has never meant to represent the people of the world. It was meant to represent the people who live within the boundaries of the United States. The American people. It was to represent our ideas, our beliefs, our Constitution. It is supposed to represent what unifies us as a people versus what the rest of the world was and is. That's not a world flag. It's the American flag.
Up in fucking flames. America is nothing to celebrate.
America is nothing to celebrate.
Then don't celebrate it. That's the wonderful thing about this country. You don't have to celebrate if you don't want to. You're not forced to go out and celebrate.
We demand
We demand
a different way to live.
a different way to live.
How do you want to live? You've got the freedom to live how you want to live in our country as long as what you're doing doesn't infringe on anybody else's rights, on anybody else's way that they want to live. You want to go and buy 20 acres up in the woods, 100 acres up in the mountaintop, and be a hermit? You're more than welcome to. Go up there and do it. No one's going to come up there and bother you. As long as you pay your taxes every year, like your land taxes every year, like you're supposed to, no one's going to bug you. No one's going to go up there and force you to do anything you don't want to do, force you to live any way you don't want to live. You buy 110 acres, want to walk around naked every day, then that's exactly what you can do. So go do it.
Different system.
A different system.
Revolution, nothing less.
Revolution, nothing less.
America was never great.
America was never great.
America was never great.
America was never great.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Slavery, genocide, and war.
I hear what? Maybe a dozen voices. You notice how this camera doesn't pan around to show you how many people's actually there chanting with her. It doesn't sound like there's more than a dozen of them, to be honest. At least not to me. Which, in a way, that makes me feel kind of good that this malcontent could only find a dozen people to join her in her stupidity.
Every genocide and war.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
America was never great.
America was never great.
These people are so stupid they buy a nylon flag and they're trying to burn it. All it's doing is melting. They didn't even think ahead to buy a cloth flag. They bought a nylon one. You can see where it's melted. It didn't burn. And oh boy, you know that pisses them off. Morning, Leslie. How you doing today?
America was never great.
America was never great.
Revolution, nothing less.
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 Man, this fucking flag, let's just rip that shit, yo. There you go. America is nothing to celebrate. There you go. That's why we are here. Because the crimes that this... they make it so hard to rip that shit up or burn that shit up because they swear that it's a sacred symbol. And
No, it's not a sacred symbol. If we considered that to be a sacred symbol, there'd be laws against doing what you're doing to it. There would be laws against it. Now, I don't know who this group is. I don't know if they're a bunch of, I mean, they've got it in English and Spanish. Are they, but they've got, I mean, black people there with them and a white guy, or at least somebody that appears to be white. All right. I don't know if she's Mexican or some other form of Hispanic. I love the little bit of artwork they've done back here on the Constitution, splattered the red paint on it to represent blood. But if America was as bad, if this country was as bad as what they proclaim, what they are doing right there in public would be illegal.
on this day, on July 4th, when you're told to wave your American flag and to display it in pride and to be so proud to be an American, we are here to disrespect this flag because it does not represent the interests of humanity. And for all the reasons we've been talking about today, that it has the blood of the people of the world. I'm serious. One of these motherfuckers got to go up in flames. So
Yeah. If you're so disappointed in this country, lady, there's a dozen other countries in this world that you could move to that I'm sure would make you much happier. A dozen more that are the way you want them to be. And if they are, then move there. Make it rather than living in the agony that you apparently live in and living and that you're apparently in and living in this country. Why don't you move to one that makes you happier? If you're communist, there's communistic countries in the world. You can move to Cuba, you can move to Venezuela, North Korea, China. There's all the, there's other countries that make you happier. If you want more of a authoritarian country, move to Mexico, move to, Panama. You can move to Nicaragua, Honduras. You can move to Brazil, Argentina. There's other countries you could move to that evidently would make you a lot happier and fit your needs. But you see, the problem with you and a lot of people like her, and this is me staying on my own soapbox, they understand that if they were to move to these other countries, that their standard in living would drop so drastically that one, they wouldn't have time to sit there and spout the nonsense that they spout because they'd be too busy trying to eke out a living to put a roof over their head or food in their bellies. They'd just be too tired, too busy. And they'd be too tired. They would not find the people gullible enough with enough money to donate to them to fund their little diatribes. How they're for the people and donate to me so I can get out there and sing this song of the masses, to the masses, for the people. Let me go out there and do this for the people. Fund me, donate me your money. They make the worst of the television pastors look good. They really do. They take the stereotype of what a television pastor is supposed to be, and they've modeled their lives over after that stereotype, taking money from the dumb and the blind people, the people too ignorant to know better, and use it to fund their own lifestyle. That's what's going on here. And it's not just them that do it. I knew I'd find a way to segue into this article. One of the U.S.'s largest racial justice organizations is slashing its budgets and laying off staff after overspending on lavish perks. Color of Change recently announced significant cuts to its budgets and staff. Dozens of interviews and review of internal documents show a pattern of lavish spending. Color of Change Education Funds Board called last year's fiscal budget too ambitious, but said the organization was solid financial footing. Color Change touts itself as the U.S.'s largest online racial justice organization. It has over 7 million members. The pioneering group has weighed in on issues from bias in Hollywood to the recent killing of Jordan Neely on the New York City subway. The organization has partnered with Airbnb to address racism on that platform. It's worked with the Recording Academy to promote positive social changes within the music industry. Its president, Rashid Robinson, has become a regular media presence, including an appearance with Oprah and a profile in Forbes. Color Change collected over $30 million in 2020. $30 million. But the organization's leadership appeared ill suited to handle the rush of cash. Color Change dramatically increased spending in 2020 and continued burning through its cash as revenue declined. Tens of millions were spent on executive salaries, high-profile events, consultants, and projects with dubious connections to tangible impacts on social justice. Yeah, they got all that money in. They had to go and buy the cars, the suits, the jewelry. Yeah, I got this money. I'm going to go and buy the best of the best. I'm going to go and buy that tailored three-piece suit. I'm going to buy that expensive watch, the expensive chains, the earrings, all this other good stuff. I'm going to fly first class. In a Medium post published after the insider sent the results of its reporting, the board chairs wrote the organization was cutting its budget by 20 million, going back to pre-2020 levels. A week later, 49 staffers were laid off, and a list of eliminated positions. These cuts come on the heels of 2 rounds of layoffs this spring. Here's a nice little tweet. My former employer, Color Change, has been laying people off and refusing to bargain on severance. They're declaring an impasse so they can pay as low as possible. Today, they let go 49 people. It's color of capitalism over there. Oh, no. The color of capitalism. Could it be that, the color of change is a color of communism? Color of socialism? 2021 financial report found the organization spent $1.52 for every dollar raised. The organization spent more than $1 million more than it brought in each month for the second half of 2022. Yeah, that's a lot of money. They're $4 million in the red. So you wonder why people like Floyd and Neely get so much publicity. It's not because their deaths were wrong, but people like this need to strive up outrage, manufacture that outrage, because manufactured outrage brings in money. It's profitable. And yeah, they're going to sit there and say, yeah, we're doing this for the people. We're doing this for the people. The poor, the downtrodden. For the BIPOCs, the gays, the lesbians, the latest, most uh, pitiful group in America, the transition or trans men and trans women, mostly trans men, because, trans men are so abused in this country. Or is it trans women? People with dangly bits that now want to have fake boobs and go in and watch little girls change clothes. They're detested now. They're the newest group that need to be protected in this country. So let's manufacture outrage among the left and get them to donate all that money to us. Let's get the Hollywood people to speak out for us. Let's get the leftists in Hollywood and the radio and record business to change the requirements to what it takes to get recognized, to be given awards. Make certain that they've got messages that's appropriate for us. Because they are us, and they don't want us to be mad at them if they don't do what we want them to do, if we don't tell them what to do. So, anyway, I hope everybody else had a good I had a decent 4th of July. I had to work that night, of course. Bubba and I both had to work, different hotels, different parts of the state, but we're both out there working, seeing the nutcases. That meant early nights because I don't know about Bubba, but man, I gotta take that couple 3 hour nap before I go into work, and I gotta make up that 64 ounces of coffee before I leave in, so I got enough coffee to make it through the night. Because I'm sure as hell not drinking that dregs of crap that we've got at the hotel. I'm taking in my own coffee that I know tastes halfway decent. But I still had a pretty good 4th. Made up a decent lunch and such. Wife stayed home with the puppy, dosed the doggy down so that he would be cool, calm, and collected, not lose his crap and puke or pee all over the floors. So what else has been going on here? Let's see here. Where did this go? There it is. Da, 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 da. Now, some people had more fun on the 4th of July than others did. Oh, come on. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. There we go. On the 4th of July, Secret Service began investigating a white powdery substance found in the West Wing. On the 5th of July, it was determined that that was cocaine found near where guests entered the West Wing. And then on the 6th of July, lab tests confirm that it was cocaine, not white powder. Well, we all have our suspicions. Oh, way to go, Leslie. I've My older sister reminded me of a story when I was a kid that happened, which may be why I'm not such a fan of fireworks. Besides the fact that neighbor kids almost blinded my younger brother with fireworks. They lit some stuff off in a metal wash tub, then had him look in it, and it went off, and he couldn't see for 3 days. We thought he'd lost his eyesight permanently. Then evidently, now, I don't remember this, but my older sister does. She says that some fireworks at a park went off, and one of the ones, instead of going up in the air, shot through the crowd and hit the guy sitting on the blanket next to our family, and it all but blew his arm off. I don't remember it, but she said that she does. Um, I like watching fireworks go off, but I'm not a big fan of actually lighting them off myself. I'd rather leave anything explosive like that up to people who are trained and know what in the world they're doing. That's just not my thing. You know, I've done enough dangerous things in my life that could have cost me arms and legs and fingers and such. Hell, I took off a half a fingernail the other day just chopping some veggies. I was sitting there chopping up some veggies, and the cat come up, and I'm just wearing a pair of running shorts, those nylon running shorts, and don't have a pair of jeans on. And the cat jumped up and sunk his claws into my upper thigh, and that knife went down and took off half my fingernail, right down to the skin underneath it. Yeah, that hurt like hell. That actually happened to me on the 4th of July. So, I'm sitting there wrapping my finger up, trying to keep blood from getting all over my food because I'm wanting to eat that food. I'm not wanting to have to throw it away because it got blood all over it. So, but anyway, back to the cocaine. KJP, Karine Jean Pierre, the White House affirmative action hire, says that the White House, it's amazing how it's the White House. I was not aware of the White House, the building, had a way of expressing itself, that it could express confidence. Now the occupant of the White House can, the president of the White House can express confidence. But Jean Pierre said the White House had confidence in the Secret Service. The president thinks it's incredibly important to get to the bottom of this. All right, review the damn security tapes. There's not 5 inches of that area of the White House that isn't under video surveillance. The only, yeah, Bubba, you're right. If only there were cameras in there. I think the best known uh, and frequent visitor to the White House, the person who's best known for uh, wanting to deal with that white powdery substance to the point that he admits that he probably smoked a lot of Parmesan cheese, thinking that it was that white powdery substance or something there derived thereof. Parmesan cheese, thinking that that's whatever. But yeah, and there's a video out there. I'm not going to play it. It's easy to find if you want to, of that individual, that individual and going around wiping his nose and putting both hands up to his nose and everything else. Spending a lot of time rubbing his facial features with his hands. So you're probably right about that too, Bubba. But yeah, no, my bets would be that he's that particular frequent flyer to the White House, and when he made his trip with the occupant of the Oval Office to Camp David, I bet he had a miserable weekend. I don't know what's worse, being somebody who's addicted to that stuff, not having it, or being around somebody who's addicted to that stuff who doesn't have it. Don't know what is worse about that. The reports are the Secret Service is combing through the visitor logs, the security footage, and like so much, it's going to get classified and buried. So, anyway, a lot of people are making a big deal out of it. And if you'll remember back a few years ago, the mainstream media just could not get enough about how much Diet Coke Trump drank. And they had physicians on there all the time, the physicians on there talking about the effects of that much caffeine and phony sugar on the human body, and how Trump was, you know, uh, addicted to Diet Coke. But I had a guy this weekend come in, check in, and he had one of those 2-inch fingernails on his pinky finger. And I'm just sitting there going, uh-huh. And he had the inside of it painted white. Not the outside, the inside was painted white. So, yeah, we know what's going on with that fingernail, don't we, buddy? Yeah, well, I'm still somewhat surprised that this even got out. Yeah, they had to call that emergency thing on Sunday, when they found the powder. And it's like, okay, they had shut the White House down and evacuate everybody out of there. And they could have let that go as it was a training exercise over the weekend. And they did it then because that's when the fewest people would be involved, and they could get away with it as a quick training exercise. I don't, I'm more surprised they didn't come up with that as a reason than anything else for it. And then, the whole thing, they could have legitimately forgot about it. Somebody somewhere screwed up and let the white powdery substance, or, they could have said that powdery substance was a training uh, substance, something they use for training to see how observant, it was testing to see how observant the people in the White House were for chemicals and this kind of stuff. And they're quite pleased that it was so quickly discovered after being planted. So, there's a half a dozen good excuses they could have come up with that the media would have pushed and the left would have bought, and anybody that made any questions about it were just conspiracy nuts. So this whole thing about it being cocaine, um, I got a question: why and how? Because remember, the White House controls what the occupants of the White House, right now the DNC, the Biden handlers, these people control what is said in public, what is released, and how it's released, and when it's released. So there's something here that is more. I honestly believe there's more to what's going on here than what we know. Is there some background power grabs? Is this a way of trying to tarnish Joe so badly that RFK or Newsom or somebody else steps in and runs uh, instead? You know, that's just my 2 cents worth. That this is there's a lot more behind this than what we're seeing right now. So, good piece of news, I guess. Georgia has started their early voting, and early voting is continuing to gain popularity in Georgia, while absentee voting has dropped back to uh, 2016 levels. And well, remember when Georgia changed its voting laws post pandemic, they had, and it was such an evil thing that the baseball and the NBA or MBA, not NBA, NBA had to move their baseball games out of Atlanta to another state with the same type of voting laws, but they just had to move them out of Atlanta because they wanted to punish Georgia. And Coca-Cola got involved, not like Disney did with in Florida, but Coca-Cola still stepped up and said a few things. The board of directors for Coca-Cola and the CEO and such. So that's going to be interesting. Uh, uh, Pencil Neck Shiflett, he's announced that he has raised $8.1 million for his Senate campaign. He's playing up his censor that he got from the Republican House last year for all of his lies. And the media, they're supporting him. They're not going back to talk about how he lied and misrepresented and how he lied to the American people and lied on all the newscasts and lied to all the show hosts, how he flat right lied to their faces. They're not holding that up over his head. They're letting him make his own little agenda. They're letting him revise history on that, like he did during the Trump impeachment when he revised the phone call. So, and let's see here. I'm trying that. Was it Pennsylvania? Was it a Pennsylvania guy? State legislator was arrested this week for keying a car with the F. Biden uh, bumper sticker. He's Democrat, of course, and Just seen a bumper sticker said F. Biden threw him in such a rage that he had to key somebody's car over it. So, yeah, that's another little piece of, you know, catch-up stream, uh, innocuous information that doesn't really mean squat, but when you put it together with, Democrats, everything else going on within the Democratic Party, it makes you wonder things that make you go, hmm. And let's see here what we got else. Dar's got a lot of construction going on at his place, so he's not being able to join us this morning because he doesn't want all that noise bother us. Have y'all seen the video of the woman that went nuts on an airplane? Come on, computer. I swear I've got to look seriously at start getting a new computer. This one here is not being able to handle having all these tabs open.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to.
Now, she's going absolutely eight nuts over that. You hear that? I mean, she was, while she wasn't going absolutely eight nuts, she was freaking out over this character. But the question is who was she freaking out? Because you can't see from that particular video. Now, supposedly, this is the guy that she was freaking out over. This guy right here in the green hoodie. This is the guy she was freaking out over.
You go to Megan so we can get this going so you can all go.
Supposedly, this is the character she's freaking out over. That. Yeah, I'm yeah. People are having fun with it. Some people said that when he blinked, his eyes blinked horizontally instead of vertically. That, I mean, was she freaking out because he's wearing a hoodie? Or was she just on some funny stuff? That's just too much. I mean, it really is too much. I mean, she was being serious about it though. There was no two ways about that. Okay. Let's see what else is on my agenda here that I got pulled up for this morning. Is this the story from this morning? Yeah. Now again, the Ketchup stream. Last week we talked a little bit about I talked a little bit about the lawsuit that was brought by Missouri and a couple other states that against the Biden administration and their ways of violating the First Amendment by suggesting, quote unquote, suggesting that Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and other places take down or curtail people's opinions because it didn't go well with the messaging that they wanted to get across, be it messaging on certain worldwide illnesses, be it messaging on drugs, be it messaging on guns, be it messaging on anything else. I think that was body cam footage there, Lazel. So, and a judge filed an order restricting the Biden administration officials from contacting social media companies about monitoring their content. Some legal experts, and yes, I know. The definition of expert is a has-been drip. But several legal scholars and attorneys said that the lawsuit challenging the administration's communications with social media companies raised real free speech concerns. There was no precedent to support the sweeping preliminary order issued by U.S. District Judge Terry Doherty in Louisiana that would sharply limit dozens of government agencies and officials' communications with social media companies. The Biden administration on Wednesday filed notice with the New Orleans Fifth-Based Circuit Court of Appeals, saying it was appealing the ruling. Of course they're going to appeal the ruling because they want to be able to have their contacts within all the social media groups, including this new one by Zuckerberg that the media, man, I tell you the number of stories I saw about that this morning, how Threads is going to be the Twitter killer. I'm not joining another social media group. I'm just not. I spend way too much time going through social media as it is. I'm not joining another one. I'm cutting back on my social media time. The plaintiffs allege that U.S. officials violated their right to free speech under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution by pressuring social media companies to take down posts that officials worried would fuel vaccine hesitancy during the COVID-19 pandemic or conspiracy theories about elections. The problem is the government cannot. Other people have said this because it's a hard fact. It's law. It's as the Democrats like to say, it's settled law. The government cannot ask someone else to do what they cannot do on behalf of the government. The government cannot ask your landlord to go into your apartment and search your apartment and give them a call back to, if they find anything, or give them a list of things to look for. If they can't do it, if they can't get a warrant to go in and search your apartment, the government can't ask your landlord to go do it for them. That's illegal. The government can't ask your girlfriend to get your wallet out of the car and give them your driver's license to identify you if you refuse to identify yourself. The government can't do that. The government can't go to the social media companies and say, we want you to take things down that we don't like because they contradict what we say. The government can't do that. Now, the left would be raising all kinds of hell if this was a conservative president. Let's use Trump, who wasn't even a conservative president. Remember how the media went absolutely apeshit over the Muslim ban when it was nothing more an extension of Obama's ban? Remember how the media went absolutely apeshit over the restrictions on people coming in from China at the beginning of the pandemic? Remember? The left, they, they, they don't seem to remember their own history. They don't seem to remember when they argued for what they're arguing against now. They don't remember when they argued against what they're arguing for now. You know, and the general purpose of the order was that it told the government agencies like the Department of Health and specific individuals like the DHS and the president and vice president, or anybody associated directly with them, or anybody associated with a senator or a member of the House, from going to a social media group and saying, hey, I don't like that tweet. I don't like that post. I don't like that video. Take it down. It makes me look bad. It makes us look bad. It's it's giving out an opinion we don't like. So take it down. Now, Doherty, he wrote out 155 pages supporting his ruling. You don't slap together a 155-page ruling. That's not something done slipshod, half-fast, or one night over a cup of coffee and a bottle of bourbon. Hey, Dana, good morning to you. We're just playing catch-up stream here today, my friend. We're just playing catch-up stream. Just a lot of little off and on things. I'm doing that here before. I've got to bake 2 loaves of bread today. if not 3. I may have to I may have to run to the store and buy some more milk because I may have to bake a 3rd loaf of bread. I think I've only got enough milk to bake 2. But then I may try one of the. I bought a recipe book, uh, 2 actually recipe books that go from 1900 through 1930 or 1927. Anyway, about 30 years of recipes, early 1900s. And, when a lot of modern conveniences and even things like having milk available for recipes at all times was not quite a thing. So anyway, I bought a couple of those cookbooks just to see what's out there, what's different, and I'm going to try some of that stuff. But anyway, you know, my response to this is it's real simple. The uh, the Biden administration is saying that there's no threat of harm, that the whole thing is moot because all those circumstances is over with. And the Republican attorney generals of Louisiana, Missouri, this judge are saying bullshit. You're wrong because if you did it once, we need to stop you from doing it again. And that the companies themselves, they that the Biden administration is sitting there saying, well, the companies ultimately made their own decisions. Well, authorities sitting there showing, yeah, but they made the decision only after you threatened them. You threatened their 230 status. You threatened this. You made threats to that. You had regulate. You want to scare a company into compliance? Just threaten them with the IRS. Hey, we're going to send the IRS in there to look over your books. We're going to send in the Bureau of Labor to go in and look over your hiring practices. We're going to send in the Department of Justice to look over, you know, how some of the stuff you got going on. Yeah, Dana, I got a chance to watch some of them. And they're different. I will say that they are definitely different. Oh, so there now. Did Doherty maybe reach a little too far? It's possible. But is there really an overreach when it comes to limiting the power of the government to step in and slap down an individual's right to speak? I may not like your speech, but that doesn't mean you don't have the right to say it. I don't like watching these people burn the flag. I don't like watching those people tearing up the flag, the American flag. When I went into work the other day, they had somebody had bought an American flag and draped it over the back of the chair. And the people that I relieved were sitting on it. Well, I go in, I see it, I fold it up correctly, and I put it away. Well, when the shift came in the next day and they asked me where it was, I told them, I said, well, I don't sit on the American flag, so I folded it and put it away. And they said, well, okay, that's fine. After you leave, I won't get it back out and put it back on the chair. Well, you've got the right to do that. Just as I have the right to fold it up, respect it, and put it away. And not sit on it. I'm not going to sit on the American flag and fart on it. All right. So the government doesn't have, anytime you've got to really convince me that the government has a right, has a need, a true need to come in and squash somebody's free speech. I mean, they've already said that, and it's settled law, that news media can come in and give away government secrets when it comes to the military, and nothing can happen to them as long as they weren't uh, involved in the theft of those government secrets. Then, as long as they weren't directly involved with the theft of them, then yeah, they can give a. Somebody comes to them with the Pentagon Papers. Hey, troop movements. Hey, no problem. The government doesn't have you. The news media can release all that stuff they want, no matter how badly it hurts the American military. So, if what is the difference between these people that was ranting and raving about how racist and evil and genocidal the United States is earlier in the video I showed at the beginning of the show? If there's no government intrusion into shutting down that kind of speech, how is there a need for the government to come in there and sit down and say that if I want to talk about, I believe that there was government interference in the election of 1886. I don't know if there was an election in 1886, but you know, if there was a rigged election, or want to talk about the possible rigging of JFK's election by his father, all right, or I want to discuss the merits of the different types of medical treatment. What's the government? Where's the government need to come in and shut me down for it? Where is the overreaching, the overarching importance of the government? How much harm can I do to the government in talking about my opinion on an election, my opinion on a medical treatment, my opinion about an elected official? Well, I think it's already 91 here, there, Lazel. What is it here? Now it's what is it here? Now they're saying it's 84th. I feel like a 90 right now, but 69% humidity, a 40% chance of precipitation, and a UV rating of 6, which is considered high. We're supposed to get up to 90 degrees by 1 o'clock today, so that's going to be a bit on the warmish side, and thunderbusters throughout the day, so that's going to drive the humidity up. Let's see here. P-Dog, I'll watch your show. Civil law, DUI lawyer. I don't care about how to pass the LASTs. I'm not going to take the LSTs. I don't care about a bus crash in Mexico right now. First We Feast, man. I've got to watch that. I love those First We Feast where the guys eat the hot wings. Those are great. Yeah, now I'm right on the coast, so we get a lot of the sea breeze. That you go 30 miles inland from us, and it's a lot warmer. It's 3, 4, 5 degrees warmer going inland from us. So I'm close enough to the coastline where I catch sea breeze. Oh, First We Feast, I love them. And if I watch the whole thing or not depends on who they have. If they've got somebody that to me is an unknown rap star, then I basically watch the last, from 7, 8, 9, and 10, from Atomic Bomb on up. I'll watch those. Now, if it's got somebody else, when they had Gordon Ramsay on there, then of course I watched them all just because I like listening to Gordon Ramsay rant and rave. But so I'm going to be watching this case here in the Fifth Circuit, and I'm going to be paying attention. I want to pay attention to how the Biden administration, how they say that the government has an overarching need to be able to go into a private company and tell them what speech they need to suppress. I think I'm a sub to that channel's data. I think I'm sub to that channel. Oh God, I can. Or was it the Wind channel that you had me sub to? No, I don't care about how to kill all mosquitoes in the area. Oh, I wanted to mute that, not pause it. Skip the ads here. All right, so let's see what they got going here. So let me share this since Data brought it up to us. Do present, share, sunspot, space weather incoming, magnetic microbes, July 6, 2023. Oh, that looks like a face right there, a skull. Wow. That is so neat. Get past charts are boring. Ooh, what's this? I wish they'd put a label here as to what we're actually looking at here. Big black hole on the sun. Is that what that is? A black hole on the sun? Okay. And that is, oh, wait a minute. What's this? Oh, okay. Oh, that's the magnetic field. That's cool. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I am already sub to it. I am already sub to this one. So close that. Give you two types of energy, watch flares and holes. So, okay, so let's see what else here. Uh, when's this story from? Oh, that's from last year. Never mind. Oh, speaking of which, though, here was the White House. Here was the Biden administration. See, I'm in bad habit of saying it too. Here is the Biden regimes. They hate being called regime. The Biden regime's response. The White House press secretary says they will continue to promote responsible actions by social media platforms despite judges' restrictions. Update. White House Press Secretary KJP said the Justice Department is still reviewing a federal judge's decision that restricts administration officials from contacting social media companies on protected speech. She declined to say, well, we obviously now know that they have decided to appeal it. They claimed the federal government officials were colluding with social media, yada, yada, yada. That's true. We are going to continue to promote responsible actions to protect public health, safety, and security when confronted by challenges like a deadly pandemic and foreign attacks on our elections. You mean the foreign attacks like the Clinton Russian collusion? No, no, no. There was no such thing as a Clinton Russian collusion. Was there? No, that wasn't a foreign attack. That was a good thing. Anyway, yeah, they're going to ignore the judge. That's all there is to it. Because the media is going to stand behind them for doing it. What we got here? Yeah, you'll see me talking about that quite a bit. The over a long time. All right. Oh, did y'all watch the hot dog eating championship on the 4th of July? The Nathan's hot dog. Okay. In 2001, Takuri Kobayashi, he did a hot dog a minute almost. He ate 50 hot dogs and 12 soggy buns and 50 hot dogs in 12 minutes. All right. Let's see here. The new record set this year was 76, I believe, if I'm reading this article correctly. All right. What these guys have to do. Okay. I've watched some videos on these guys, on some of these guys training for eating hot dogs. No, KGP, I don't like KGP, but she was not the worst. Uh, that slimy bastard that Trump first had. God, I didn't like that one guy. Okay, what's the ideal body? Okay. Well, what we've seen is these people are pretty well usually skinny. All right. Let's see. Genetic traits that promote a natural affinity for competitive eating includes a tall, wide build, low placed stomach, a wide jaw, and large teeth. Most notably missing from the list, a large belly. The belt of fat. That, what they say here is the belt of fat has a restrictive layer of tissue that limits stomach expansion. Top eaters, they say, stay fit leading up to competition to maximize energy. Yeah, most of them are usually pretty skinny. The woman there weighs 125 pounds, and she ate 21 corn dogs in 8 minutes. Wow. Chestnut, who's 6 foot tall, weighs 230 pounds, and what do they say here? He's built to fit stuff. Ah, I just let's see if they have the videos of these guys actually eating. I, you don't see any fat people here eating, stuffing them hot dogs down their faces. Some eaters, such as Pseudo, uses flavor waters to offset the overwhelming saltiness and garlicliness of the hot dogs. Others use regular water heated to the temperature of a bath. Eating 10 pounds of hot dogs in 10 minutes. Ouch. Nah. I've watched some of the training films these guys do that some of the guys have done in the past, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Let's see here. When's this article from? 2 days before the 4th of July. 2 days, just 2 days. I tell you what, I've only, yeah, this will be the last article I cover here because it's just going to piss me off. Oh, after they're done, yeah, Sean Spicer, uh, he just was bad. Oh, ramen pop in? Hey, morning, ramen. No, you have to wonder how many do get sick, because they have to hold it down there long enough to go through uh the ceremonies afterwards. The amount of laxatives they probably shove through their system to to get rid of all of it. Yeah, I wonder about that too. God, their intestinal tract must really suffer. But you can tell the Democrats, though, back to back to the ugly facts of life. The Democrats don't like our court system right now because it's being used against them. Much as conservatives didn't like the courts too much back in the 70s and 80s when it was going against conservatives a lot, the liberals are having a hard time putting up with it now. So let's see here. Okay, man, I've still got too many tabs open. I've been closing them as I go. So just before the 4th of July, Presley Ocasio-Cortez called for changes to the Supreme Court. The calls come after the Supreme Court handed down a slate of decisions decried by many Democrats. Why? Because they didn't like them. Because they weren't progressive enough for them. House progressives are calling, they're not calling the radical left. You notice that. They're just calling the House progressive. Are calling for change to the Supreme Court following a slate of decisions affecting affirmative action, student debt cancellation, and LGBTQ protections. First of all, let's take a look at affirmative action. Affirmative action, also known as racism. That's all there is to it. I don't have to say it, y'all know it, but I want to say it anyway. Anytime you give somebody a benefit based upon their race, it's racist. Anytime you give somebody a benefit based upon their sex, it's sexist. If you don't treat people equally based upon their merits, then you're doing it wrong. The courts, if they are to proceed any further without a check on their power, without any balance on their power, then we'll start seeing an undemocratic and frankly dangerous authoritarian expansion of power in the Supreme Court. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said Sunday on CNN's State of the Union. State of the Union? Oh, State of the Union. AOC has called for changes to the High Court, including expanding the number of justices on the bench and ending federal abortion rights and landing a blow to LGBTQ protections. What LGBTQ protections? All it says is that you can't force somebody to make something for you if they don't want to. That's all they said. You can't force somebody to work for you. You can't, they would no more. Again, the left is usually pretty hypocritical about this stuff. Do you think the left would call for protections of an individual demanding that they walked into a black bakery and wanted a KKK cake baked, walked into a Muslim bakery and wanted a gay wedding cake made? Do you think the left would be standing there? Do you think AOC would be standing there demanding that those bakers be required to bake those cakes or design those websites as this was the case? No, they wouldn't. They'd be outraged that somebody went in there and offended those people so badly. There would be pure blind outrage over it. Come on, Spanky. Okay, you're just walking around to walk around? Okay. Dog starts walking around in circles. It usually means he wants to go outside and go potty. But anyway. But because in this case, somebody who just happened to be gay wanted something done, well then, by God, they had to do it because, wow, it was a gay man that wanted it done. Republican Representative Ayanna Pressley, Democrat, Massachusetts, another prominent House progressive, also slammed the Supreme Court's recent rulings on Sunday, saying that the court were a caucus in Congress They would be bootstrap or forced to birth, don't say anything gay caucus. Now, y'all know I'm anti-abortion. I believe the only reason to kill an unborn child is if it is absolutely the only way to save the mother's life. Absolutely the only way. They continue to overturn the will of the majority of the people. That courts are not designed to uphold the will of the people. You stupid, ignorant woman. The courts are there to uphold the Constitution and the equal application of law underneath that Constitution. You stupid, ignorant woman. Legislating, making history for all the wrong reasons. Legislating from the bench and being political from bench. You know, when the bench ruled on gay marriages, you had no problem with that legislation from the bench. Now, did you? You had no problem when they legislated that from the bench. Or any of the other dozens of cases where they legislated from the bench. It just happened went the way you wanted it to go. It's nothing but intersectional oppression. Both members of Congress said every option should be on the table when it comes to reining in the court's power and reforming its ethics. We should be considering subpoenas and investigations. We must pass much more binding and stringent ethics guidelines. Remember, whatever ethics guidelines you pass will also be applied not only to Clarence Thomas, but to Brown, Sotomayor, and the other liberal members of the Supreme Court, justices that you love. The things that you complain about happening right now are things that your goddess, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, got away with, did. So, once again, the pure hypocrisy. I think everything should be on the table, Presley said when asked whether she supports adding more seats to the 9-justice bench. Here's a Supreme Court that's been bold in rolling back the hands of time, undermining and rolling back what should be fundamental civil rights. So everything should be on the table, reform and expansion. Then pass, look, for over 2 years, y'all had the White House, the House, and the Senate. Y'all could have passed all these laws that you wanted to pass, and you didn't. Instead, you decided to spend money like a bunch of drunken sailors. Much as I bitch about the Republicans not getting anything done during Trump's first 2 years in office, why didn't you get this stuff done during Biden's first 2 years? Why? If this was so important to you, so god awful important, why didn't you pass the bills when you had unshakable majorities in the House and Senate? Any bills to expand the court have little chance of passing in divided Congress, and even if they do, Joe Biden does not support the change. Doing so would be a mistake, he said last week. And just like Obama, what he said last week means nothing about what he says this week or will do next week. Remember, Obama said for years that he didn't have the rights. He didn't have the authority under the Constitution for the Dreamers EO. They turned around and did it anyway. And those weak-kneed Republicans didn't fight it in the court system. We wouldn't have the Dreamer issue today if Republicans had done their jobs 10 years ago. So what they say now means nothing about what they'll do next week. What they said last week has little bearing on this week or next week. These people are absolutely nuts. And they're radical leftists. Let's be true here, okay? Oh my, what's it? Oh my God. Okay. This article just popped up on my feed, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Conference apologizes for white professors' very public racism. A conference for women historians has apologized and condemned the racist, homophobic, and Islamophobic comments made by a senior scholar in a speech last week that rolled the academics in attendance, leading many to walk out of the event in disgust. In a statement Wednesday, the Berkshire Conference of Women Historians denounced Dr. Lois Banner's very public racism on stage at the 50th anniversary of Big Berks, a triennial gathering which Banner helped found, and apologized sincerely for the harm experienced by those in the room. Banner, who was named in the statement, doubled down after saying that she didn't feel as though her whiteness benefited her in a career. As discomfort and revulsion swept through the room, Banner insisted that she was in her 80s and their mind would not be changed. Oh my God, this is an 80-year-old woman saying that she didn't feel her whiteness benefited her in her career. They just, okay, so they're just going to magically exclude the fact that she's a woman and how, so, they claim that women have been systemically oppressed and still are oppressed to this day. Women can't get ahead in business or in any academic field because they're women, because vagina. And this is an 80-year-old woman. Okay? 80 years old. So that meant she was born in the 1930s, 1940s. Let's say she was born in the 1940s. So that put her going through college in the 1960s. Okay. Going through the beginnings of her career in the 1960s when supposedly women were so oppressed. Please. Renfro also told the Daily Beast that Banner was allowed to continue speaking with the event's organizers, making no move to step in or interrupt her. The Berks, as the conference is known, addressed that that failure in this Wednesday statement, calling it a grave mistake made by leadership. Oh my God, we are so sorry we didn't step in and shut her up. We took what we're so sorry we gave her the freedom of speech to say what she thought. We're so sorry that we did that. Uh, yeah, well, Lazel, I mean, 80-year-old trans, could have been trans for the past 40 years. Yeah, yeah, who knows? I was born in 59. She's 20 years older than I am. So that give her born in 39. 39, 1940, somewhere in that area, going through. So that put her 20 years old, going into college in the late 50s, early 60s. Sexual revolution was in big bore back then at that time period. The pill had been invented, free sex. Yeah, whatever flips her triggers. Oh, God, these people. They really, really and truly absolutely get me. All right, tomorrow's fun Friday fun stream. We'll see what's going to happen tomorrow. Movies, food, books, and life in general. Nothing to get my blood pressure up. All right. So join Ramen and hopefully Dar if his construction is done tomorrow, and myself tomorrow morning around 9 o'clock Central. Ramen, get some sleep tonight, darling. All right. And everybody, please have a good day. Enjoy yourselves. Relax. Cook a good meal. Read a good book. Listen to a good book. Watch a good movie. Speaking of which, I got my Wild Wild West DVDs in. I know what I'm watching today. Yes. It's hard, but you will drink all coffee. Yeah. I tell you what, Ramen, I drank 64 ounces. That's what my big thermos holds, plus another 32. So that's 96. I probably drank close to 100 ounces of coffee Tuesday night. These old TV shows, Ramen, they make me happy because they're fun shows to watch. They don't have messages in them. Some of these old shows, they don't have messages. They're not message shows. And I love it. My wife and I got into a discussion the other day. She's watching the Chicago Fire. She likes that show. She turns it on now. I leave because I mean, I get tired of the mandatory lesbian shower scene, the mandatory lesbian uh, bed scene, love making scene on TV. Oh, oh, I Dream of Jeannie was just pure fun. That was just a pure fun show to watch. So anyway, Larry Hagman, man, what an actor. What a guy. You know, going from the major to the evil oil man in his career. Gotta love it. So I've watched episodes of the Rookie Ramen. I'm not a big fan of it because I'm just not a fan of it. So, anyway, y'all have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow. Have fun, enjoy, be with the ones you love the ones that you're with, and enjoy yourselves.